I'm just trying to make sure I look kind of swole.
Yeah.
Kind of buff. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. It sucks that it gets worse down the line. Just like muscles,
like 50 push-ups
handsome.
before I got here just to get the pump for the interview.
Yeah, every interview. I don't have any value except for arms, so I've got to
We've
do
done
it
that a
again.
few times before dethrone because it's like the encore time, and I've got like the black tank top on. I'm like, I'm gonna do some push-ups just to get a little.
You get
Just a
started,
little
you're just a little out of breath.
Yeah.
It's just
Bad way
keep
to
him
start.
away from the stage tonight. Then he'd be fine.
Or, hear me out, as the personal trainer right before is super jacked. Before August Burns Red played their last tour here, Jake and I played at the Horden, and there's a gym directly across the road. And he was like, after our set, do you want to get lifted? So we got on stage, he's like, I felt jacked for that whole show. I feel good.
It's a delicate balance of like not using all your energy on the lift. But...
I mean, yeah, the late night caffeine. Do you coffee before shows, or does that like affect your voice too much?
I'll do it in the morning.
Yeah,
but
okay.
I try to like stay away from coffee and dairy too close to the show.
Some people are just like,
Yeah,
find
just
out.
go for it. Yeah. How militant are you now? Because you guys are touring more than you ever have. Longer sets. How militant are you on?
You know, it's weird. I was like very militant for the last few years, and it was like starting to make me pretty depressed.
Really?
It's just like can't have any fun or go anywhere, like I was saying.
Yeah.
And then I went to the, get what you pay for. You go to the koala sanctuary and you're outside and the allergies and the dander and the pollen.
Welcome to Australia.
And now I'm like this, but I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna have fun with it. And just like last night of the show, it was like everything's business as usual, but I'm like panicking in my head.
Yeah.
Last time we were here in Sydney,
That's true.
we had to stop mid-show because of my voice. And I was like, that would be both terrible and hilarious if that happened last night.
After experiencing something like that, though, has it given you a different outlook on how you approach this? You know, because obviously you guys are super professional, and that's how you want to present yourselves.
Yeah.
But at the core, it's still punk rock. It's still metal. Has it kind of sort of given you a reset on how you look at those sorts of things?
Dude, it's such a hard balance because, like I said, it's like you get too militant and too disciplined. You don't have any fun, and you're just like mad and angry the whole time and like resentful. You're like everyone else is going out, having fun, going on adventures, amusement parks, whatever. And I'm like afraid that I'm gonna mess up my voice if I talk too late, hanging out, or anything. So then you're like, your mental state is compromised, and then that will compromise the show. So it's just like weird.
Yeah, I feel like it
nuanced.
also it does translate to the audience. The audience can tell when you're actually like present. You're not just like in your head about your voice. You're actually enjoying the show. They're the ones that people can tell.
Exactly.
So it's there's like a
last night kind of was that example where it was not my best show by any means. Like I had to like kind of flip to my falsetto for certain high notes, which I don't like to do because I feel like that's like the cool part of what I can do. Like, it's the high note I sing and everyone gets excited. But I was just trying to like make it fun.
Yeah, cool.
And I think for that reason, even though it wasn't my best vocal performance, it was like one of my favorite shows of the run.
Oh,
we were just
cool.
goofing around, having fun, and just like, I don't know, I was, instead of like getting like kind of mad at myself and like, you know, woe is me about it, I was like, I'd rather go out there and like do a mid job in front of 5,000 people and try.
Yeah.
Versus like let 5,000 people down and be like, I can't sing tonight if I can't do everything my voice can usually do.
Look, I don't want to, blow too much smoke or fangirl too much.
Hits,
but let's be realistic. Let's be totally transparent to everyone out there. Your mid is, it's a few worlds above a lot of vocalists out there.
Yeah,
so.
I'm finally learning that. Like our managers here came to see some of the shows, and he was like, the show was incredible. Like, how'd you feel? And I was like, I'm realizing that things that I notice I'm doing differently or like holding back on, most people aren't noticing unless they're like maybe the fanatics that watch every live video. They're like, he can do the thing he always does.
You got a few of those.
We do have those, so it's like it's hard to balance, but I don't pay attention.
Yeah.
Is that something that's changed on this tour cycle because you become so much more like present for the fans in terms of like, I guess you're not on social media as much, but you've got a reputation and everyone like knows how like perfect everything's going to be.
Yeah.
Is that something that this tour particularly has shown you being like a takeaway from this album cycle, being like, we want to actually go and enjoy it more now that we're playing these bigger shows, bigger rooms to more people? We actually want to have more fun with it? Or has it kind of been the opposite and you built more pressure to deliver?
I mean, it just happens so fast. It's like, it's kind of both. Like I said, there was like the past, up until pretty recently, I was very militant and like just not having any fun or doing anything or talking, and just like it got to me. And but the shows were getting bigger, so I'm like, you
Sure.
justify it. Like the stakes are higher. There's like more people you're disappointing. There's more money on the line. Like there's all these reasons that like you have to be more professional.
Yeah.
I have to treat myself like a porcelain doll on tour because my voice is
And you're very pretty.
my voice is my body. But like I said, with this run in Australia, I love Australia also. Like we've only been here once. The last time, it was so much fun.
Yeah.
Even though like what happened with my voice and stuff, we didn't get to play all the shows. But it's just such a good vibe here, and I was like, I want to enjoy it.
Cool.
You know, like, and not just like, it's a job, obviously, it's our career, and it's very important, and we treat it as such. But it's like, not everyone can just go to Australia even for fun on vacation, let alone
a cool
like
perspective.
get paid to go there
Yeah.
and like perform and do what you want to do. So I was like, I'm gonna go out and have fun and like hang out with my friends after the show and go to the sanctuaries and stuff.
Never again.
Touristy things. You know, so I guess now it's just a balance of like not being too irresponsible. Like I still go to sleep early every night and stuff, but
there's still definitely,
but not just
rules.
torturing myself, because there is a part of my
Sure.
psyche where I think it's like if I don't suffer for it, it's not worth it, or it's not going to be as profound or deep or something. You know, that you just think it's like there has to be a struggle for it to be important.
Was that kind of like part of your thought process though, when you said, you know, like you were so militant, but the shows were getting bigger? Was there any part of you that was like, well, fuck, like everything is going the right way. I have to keep being this way, because if I don't, it might not progress the same way.
Well, that for sure is a big part of it, like the strategy of it. But also, like, I feel like I set a precedent and a bar, because like I was so militant, and my voice, I feel like every night was really great for the most part. Every tour we were doing, like I was trying to one up myself every tour, do new things, or like try adding new high notes, and it's just like a hamster wheel. You know, it's like it's never ending, trying to like beat yourself and one up yourself all the time, and it just gets like not fun when it's just like that's all it's about, is like impressing yourself or impressing other people.
Yeah, that's a really good
With
perspective.
that being said, coming into writing new music and moving forwards, is there any thought on that of being like leaving yourself room to be more creative live and the way you record things? Because I know like we've got friends in bands that are like, I wrote it this way, knowing that this is what the live sound's going to be, so it can always be more impressive, or is that not really consideration?
I think part of the new stuff we're writing has that in mind. Like now that this is the most touring we've ever done on this album cycle, obviously, because it just took off, and I'm learning a lot about my voice touring and like what I can and can't do, and just like how to manage it when it's something that's so nuanced as like your body. It's like, oh, I went outside to check the mail today and now my throat's scratchy because it's like the pollen, you know, like you can't, it's really hard to quantify and like police that, you know. And even now, like we go and tour and I'm like, oh, we should get a humidifier and like dust and vacuum the rooms just to like do that extra credit to try things, you know, because you can't see what's happening in your body. But with the new music, I definitely think there's a part of it where I'm trying to leave room for fun, where it's not so rigid, because our show is very, I almost view it like a movie, you know. It's like it's very like on a track and like a tram line, I guess you could say, and it's like rehearsed like to a T, and everything's automated with the lights and the content and stuff. So it is kind of like trying to recreate the same movie every night, and that gets boring too and like exhausting. So that's another reason I was saying, like, trying to have more fun and joke around again with the audience, and if my voice isn't feeling good, like make light of it, or just be more engaging and like make up in other ways. If I'm not hitting all the notes I want to hit, it's like maybe make more eye contact or interact more with the audience. But again, it's like every night's different, you know. It's like I could be in a bad mood and not feel like doing that. You know, it's like there's so much to it, and I feel like a lot of people just make it about them or their city. It's like, oh, he hates us. He did this here and didn't do. It's like, no, I'm just a person, and some days I don't like the day, you know.
Wait till you get to Melbourne and don't play again.
He hates us. That's the thing though, and that's such a great point as well. It's like, I think that when there's artists like, you know, like yourself and like Vessel from Sleep Token, artists that have had such an impact on people and have created this really just strong, connected fan base that like have nothing but complete adoration.
Yeah.
I think at some point that whole fantasy of who you are as an artist, they forget that beyond all that, there's still just a dude that gets up in the morning and has to take a piss.
Has a tummy ache.
You know, exactly, like everybody else.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's also not your job to remind people of that.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's such a spectrum of like, you know, if you compare yourself to, I don't know, Justin Bieber or like someone that's even on a other stratosphere of celebrity and fame, it's like, it's all the same, but it's like different people have different experiences with that and like what that means. So there's some people that there's so much magic in the band to them, like you were saying with Vessel and Sleep Token and their fan base, where it's like so mysterious. People that have no experience with that, like conversation of like, hey, these are still just like people performing and like doing a job with their craft and their art, and like they get sick or they get emotional or whatever. There is like the bittersweetness to that disconnect where it's like still so magical to the fan, where there's like there's this thing that's so inspiring and it's so cool and it's like pulls you away from yourself and you go see a show. And that's why I try to make our shows so like cinematic and like immersive and like an experience, and like we go hard on production because I really want people to feel like they're like seeing something that they haven't seen before that captivates them, and it doesn't feel phoned in.
I feel like that's also with you guys in particular because you don't have like a really strong personal social media presence.
Yeah.
I think that magic is pardon me, always going to be there, because when people see you on stage and they listen to your music, besides things like this, they're not really getting much of an insight into you as a person behind the scenes. So they're taking as much of that as they can through how you present yourselves in the band and the music. That's who you are to them.
Well, social media is kind of like falsified this like entitlement to that information, I think.
100%.
Where it's like people, because so many artists are trying and struggling to get the attention of fans or get new fans or have success in music, they're like trying all these things to like, please look at me.
Yeah.
And it's become so normal that I feel like bands that treat social media the way we do are the weirdos. Like we're the ones doing it wrong or something because we're not sharing every thought we have or like every opinion or every meal that we eat.
Get ready with me.
Yeah. And I'm like, we're kind of the normal ones depending on who you ask. But even then it's like, what's normal?
Yeah, how's that changed?
It's just so like standard now. It's like with how intertwined we are with social media and like the digital space, like that being our identity, that I think it's hard for people to grasp, but not everyone is doing that.
Yeah.
But I also think that's, like I said, like that's the magic and the fun of it, is like, I don't want to put out a music video and the next day show you the BTS of how it was made. It's like, enjoy it for a little bit. No different than like a movie. It's like, go see the movie in theaters, enjoy the movie,
and
like,
then watch
digest
the
it, and then when the DVD's not gonna come out, but like watch the making of the BTS or whatever.
Dude, I missed that though. Tangent, but I missed that.
That's where the thought came from. I was thinking about the Lord of the Rings Deluxe with the commentary and
so good. There's 9 hours of happiness to me right there.
That was how my son fell in love with like things like Stranger Things. He watched it. And like things like the Alien movies and stuff, but then he would always, because I had them on DVD because I'm a nerd and I'm old,
heaps old.
but he would actually want to watch the making of, and number one, it was great because it gave him that disconnect from like, these people aren't really dying, so that was cool because he wasn't having nightmares. But then he was like, oh, this is really cool, the way they talk about who they are in the show and the way they work stuff out. And you're right, I don't think that people should be entitled to that sort of stuff. I think it's a luxury.
But it has become a marketing strategy. You and I talked about it heaps with Deadpool, Wolverine. I was like, I felt like I'd seen most of the movie before it came out because my algorithm was just like, you like this thing once, let's see all of it. And so I got there and it actually took away from the experience for me for that reason, because I didn't get to like just take everything in and then later on be like, oh, that's how they filmed that thing. I was like, oh, this scene, he danced like this because of this thing with that person. Like, I already knew it all. It did take away.
It's like going to a magic show and before it starts, it's like, we're going to tell you how we do all the
that's
tricks.
exactly. There's a rabbit here, by the way.
It's still the best part about magic is I still don't know how they do those fucking card tricks, man.
So we touched before about like the Justin Biebers, that level of fame.
Yeah.
Is it a weird thing, or is it something you consider? Because you guys have like this isn't. It hasn't been an overnight success for you. Like, you guys have been a band for so long. You've got a back catalogue behind you, but to all of a sudden on one album just go like, boop, and now we're in the stratosphere in terms of like this. Yeah, really, really. In the metal alt scene, to have that recognition. How was it that shift for you mentally of like accepting that level of recognition and awareness of people?
It definitely taught me a lot about like social media and what I do and don't want in my life, like in the real world.
Yeah.
You know? And I don't know, I think like we were just saying, it's like just putting out there what you're giving, you know, like the music or a video, or if you're putting out merch or whatever, it's like, that is the exchange. And like you said, anything past that is a luxury. It's like, I don't have to tell you what I eat for breakfast today, or like what I thought about Nosferatu or whatever. It's like,
well, there goes my next two questions.
Yeah. What did you think, by the way?
It's like, I don't know. It's really weird. It's so much deeper than just Bad Omens in my band. It's like me spectating the state of the world right now, and just like how rapidly it's changing because technology like compounds on itself. So it's like I don't feel like we can keep up, like we as people, like regardless of your age group. It's like it's just spiraling too quickly for us to keep up with like trends or what's normalized, like what's socially acceptable.
Yeah.
Like it's just gotten.
It's also like that's exactly
so
it changing
messy.
so quickly. What's socially acceptable now versus 6 months ago is not a thing. I always see those videos of like the influencers in the wild, and like girls dancing on the street or whatever. Like, imagine seeing that 5 years ago.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's just relatively accepted now. People just like standing in the bus stop dancing.
Yeah.
It's 5 years. Like, there's a crazy person.
It's like they're not really doing anything to bother anyone, so sure, you know, whatever. But it's like it's a little different. You're not used to it. If you're at the bus stop and someone's like doing a TikTok dance, looking at their phone, like they got the ring light set up.
And
that's
also
the thing, they set it up.
blocking out the world. Like, they just, that's the thing. Maybe it's just my like self-awareness. I would feel so conscious if everyone walked past.
Yeah.
But they're just like not breaking contact with the thing.
At the same time, you're like, wow, that's pretty brave.
That's
dude,
exactly it.
100%.
You're like, I would never do that.
Yeah.
I would feel so like uncomfortable doing. Like I would feel like so. I couldn't be seen doing that, you know.
Yeah.
What I would do in the mirror in my bedroom as a kid.
Also, I never get anything right the first time. So the amount of times I'd have to do that in the bus stop to get it right would just be fucking
I
embarrassing.
would pay money for the behind the scenes of that. And watching you just on repeat stuffing it.
Yeah.
All right, so the last 3 years, what's changed for you in terms of like what's inspiring you? Because you guys have been able to tour and play some like awesome shows, big festivals, had some things. Is there anything that changed for you being like, this tour cycle has now shifted this for us?
I guess Mayhem Festival.
Yeah.
That kind of kickstarted what is the current tour cycle, like name or whatever you call it, the brand or the chapter, the Goodbye Friend thing we're doing. Every time we've done like a series of tours or a leg of whatever this album cycle, like headline tours are, there's like a name and like an image to associate with it. We had Concrete Forever, we had Concrete Jungle. And for Mayhem, because that was our first and I think like biggest festival headline spot we've been offered, I really wanted to make it new and special because we've been playing the same set for like a year from Concrete Forever. And putting together a set like with this band is not easy. It's really hard. Like, it's not just changing the order of the songs. Like, I make it so much more difficult. Like, I change sometimes the structure of the song.
More difficult than it needs to
new
be.
Intro, more difficult than it needs to be.
Do the boys just like distance themselves now? Just go, you know what, dude? Have your moment. We'll come back.
New visuals, you know, like concepts and stuff. And for Mayhem, I spent most of the summer doing that.
Yeah,
you know, and there's also tons of people helping. I'm not acting like I do it all. Like, we have a huge crew. But like conceptualizing and creatively, I'm very involved in all that. And with the audio, like making the tracks and stuff and the musical stuff. And it ate up most of my summer, which otherwise I would have been spent doing writing music, you know? So it's always this like, you're never going to please anyone thing. It's like, oh, same set list, what the hell? Or, but we also want new music. Also, come to Europe and Brazil.
Maybe give us a come to Brazil. Come to Brazil.
Also a new album. Also, like, no new haircut.
Yeah. I will say though, and that's something that, from like a fan's perspective,
Yeah.
the change up and the shift off one album, because you said it's like you've played someplace 3 or 4 times off the back of one album, but it's a new experience every time. So the fans are still getting something. That's fucking cool, and I think that's something that not many bands are doing.
Yeah.
That you guys should be really proud of. The fact that you're able to bring this new experience to people who have seen it.
Well,
before.
we've tried to space it out, and that's why I think why we came to Australia was because we hadn't been here in a long time, and we had this new show, and the U.S. and Europe had seen 2 versions of our headliner at this point, and we were like, well, we put a ton of effort and money into this new show, Goodbye Friend, and I was like, let's go somewhere we haven't been in a long time, and the one time we were there, it wasn't exactly successful with this new thing.
Yeah.
So I don't know. To me, it's like if I'm not putting out new music, I want to be putting out something new and exciting for the people that are still engaging and coming to the show.
Yeah,
so
for
it's
sure.
still fresh. As like maybe that's my like own subconscious like thank you for still like being patient with us, because it takes us a long time to write music. Because
that stuff doesn't get lost on fans either, though. It's still it's super appreciated when you see a band like, because there are a lot of bands that don't necessarily phone it in, but could do tours off the back of, you know, one album or whatever, and continuously just come and just maybe swap out a couple of songs, and fans will still eat it up and enjoy it because of the, like, I guess the community they've created or the vibe they've created. But seeing a band that has such a vested interest in redefining themselves as musicians and as a live performance is not lost on true music fans.
I like to think so. I hope so, because
We'll see.
it's hard.
Dude, look at the ticket sales. That tells you the people there. You're saying like the last year wasn't successful. The fact that everything sold out instantly, that's a success to me. That tells me that
that's
people
true.
were happy with what happened last time.
I found out before we got here that this was like the biggest headline like tour we've done.
Oh, hell yeah.
Wow.
Like
Look at that. Australia.
We didn't
Turning
even
up.
know
in
that.
terms
Oh,
of like tickets per city, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, this is the biggest tour we've done.
Sick.
Pretty cool.
Has it felt that way at the shows?
Yeah. I mean, at a certain point, it depends on the venue. You
Yeah,
know, like
yeah.
in Europe, we did one pretty big headline. Where was that, Lana? What city was that? The big 6,000 room. Dresden. Dresden.
Oh, wow.
Oh, Germans love.
That was the
Yeah.
biggest one in Europe, and that felt pretty cool. But around that size, depending on like the space, it's hard to tell other than like the fan crowd engagement.
Yeah.
But Brisbane was for sure really fun.
That's been like kind of the consistent feedback from everyone, being like,
That was the
Brisbane's
biggest
just
show of the
getting there.
tour and of our career headlining that like so far.
Was that River Stage?
Yeah.
Yeah, sick.
Yeah.
Love an outdoor venue.
Yeah, that's a great venue too.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I probably went too hard on it. It's probably on my voice. Sydney, but I was
But
like,
you were having fun.
yeah, exactly. And I
That's
was,
the
I was
main
like,
thing.
you know what? Like, let's make this a cool moment and like go all out. And
Yeah.
just see what happens tomorrow.
I like that. All right, so one of the questions we asked a lot of bands lately, and I'm really interested to hear your take on this, is you get to see one album played in full, front to back, of any time. What do you see? There's been a few like anniversary tours coming around that sort of set this up for us, of being like bands that we want to see out front to back.
You could be really arrogant right now and say your own albums.
Don't do that.
I'm dying for new music more than anyone. I promise. We play it every night. Let me think. Maybe this is a deep cut I rediscovered recently that I forgot I loved for a long time, but From Under the Cork Tree by Fallout
dude.
Boy.
Oh,
I could write like
We
an
are
essay.
massive Fallout Boy
Yeah.
fans.
Yeah, I could write an essay about why that album is so cool and so great, and I would love to see that played live.
I can't wait to stop recording and talk to you more about that, because that's such...
that is the album that single-handedly got me back into pop punk. Because obviously, when I grew up, like listening to punk, the bands I was listening to was like Pennywise, The Offspring, all that. And then I went off it for a while, and it was Fallout Boy that got me to go and check out bands like Yellow Card and like Newfound Glory and stuff like
Sure.
that.
It's, for me, that was because it had that like the hardcore sensibilities behind it.
Yeah.
That was what was there for me that other bands at the time, Simple Plan and stuff that I was like listening to, didn't have that. They had like the hooks, but Fall Out Boy had like something heavier behind. And I wasn't into heavy music at that stage because I was 14.
Yeah.
But man, that I'm really stoked for that answer.
call.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah.
Cool.
You're
Good
welcome
call.
back anytime.
So I want to ask, look, like we've talked a little bit about social media and stuff, and with how easy it is for bands to get their music out to people, but also the stress of that and the workload that comes with that. What do you think is the biggest hurdle facing bands in, success these days?
I don't know. I could just be disconnected, but I feel like there's not a lot of new bands coming out that are like really grabbing people. Like again, I could be totally off the mark here. Everyone's like, "There's this band, they're great." I just don't know about them. But
Comment below.
yeah, comment if I'm wrong. But I think people are like really attached to the idea of success through like a format, like TikTok being the leading one right now.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
last I checked in on that, it's like it just kind of looks the same. Like everyone's got they got the front light with the ring light, they got the SM7B, and they got the cinematic mode on their iPhone vertical, and they're just like, do you want to know what it would sound like if Kid Rock did the Shrek soundtrack? Like, I'm gonna show you.
Oh, I can do that. Everyone here is just right down. They're watching going ring light, SM7B.
Yeah.
Shrek 4.
And I don't know. I don't want to like put a blanket stain on everyone that's trying to make music, because I think there's always gonna be like, it's probably an age thing too. It's like these are the tools that are easily accessible and affordable to people trying to get into music, and that's what they see all their peers doing.
Yeah.
So you have to start somewhere. Maybe that's like vertical selfie style videos on TikTok. And the people that are like, that have found what their calling is and like good at what they're doing are going to be better at it as they get
That's
better.
it. They like.
That's where
naturally
they're
have that
probably going to
skill.
start.
Yeah.
I get it though, because like I feel the same with us. Like I feel like we're good at what we do. We're real fucking good.
Professional idiots.
Yeah, but like I mean, and then I look at things like TikTok, and I'm like, how do we utilize that? Because I can't be 40 years old doing a dance or like to a new hardcore, or the sing along with no words, or the mouthing along. I can't do that.
I think it's just obvious when it's genuine and when it's disingenuine. Because with us, like, I think we're a great example of TikTok working for us and us not working for TikTok, I guess you could say. Because we never did any of that style of content where we're like talking to the camera, like trying to like hop on a trend or like cover a popular song right now or whatever. But we had all this success on TikTok, and we've only ever posted like the content that we make in every other format that we like on there, like the horizontal cinematic tour video updates and stuff, the way we like to present our brand and our visuals. And we're not like adhering to this like trend that I feel like is so repetitive with that, like, I guess film style or whatever it is, with like, I don't know. I just think that people take inspiration maybe too literally when it comes to TikTok, where they're like, it needs to look like this. I need this tool.
Right.
I gotta sound like this. I gotta have the captions and like the witty one-liner that grabs people.
It's kind of like inspiration has
It's like too forced.
Yeah, it's like this. It's not like I'm inspired by this. It's like this is the template. This is the process.
Exactly.
If I don't do this, I'm not going to trend. I'm not going to hit algorithm. People aren't going to see it and go, need to click that.
Yeah, and that's like the redundancy of it, where it's like, why is that what you want? Like, is that really the goal? Because maybe if you like shift your focus of like, I'm gonna make something really cool and proud of today, put it out in a way that I want it to be perceived, with like this type of film style or this type of lighting or whatever, and then see what happens. Like, eventually people gravitate towards the real thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is the irony not lost on you that, like, you've talked about writing pretend, being like, this is the style I'm going to write, and that's the one that really hit off for you.
Yeah.
I've been like, if I really wanted to do this, we can just do this and have success in it, because the one time you've like actively tried to write that sort of style, it just did exactly what you planned it to do. Like, that's kind of ironic.
To be fair, with Just Pretend, it's like that whole lore behind it really got stretched. Like, that's how the song started in its demo phase.
Yeah.
It was just like a vocal and a guitar, and it was like 30 seconds of music.
Yeah.
And then it had the verse and the chorus with different lyrics. And I was like, this is a pretty catchy melody, and these are good chords for this melody.
Yeah.
And that's when we were like, let's take this serious.
Okay.
So I'm not going to act like the entire song was molded around like a bit. Like, let's make a rock song that's going to be successful at rock radio.
Yeah.
It
I mean, yeah, because it doesn't sound like it's the one song on the album or in the discography that has that sound. It still is Bad Omens.
That was just like the genesis of the demo where I was like, I'm gonna make a stupid butt rock song.
Did that?
Sing it live,
But at the
dude.
same time, it's just proof that like
One day I'll put the demo out. It's hilarious. Like, I'm not afraid.
Scott Tabby,
Yeah,
hard
exactly.
out,
Scott Stapp stuff.
I would love to know or hear like that going forward, like new songs coming out, being like, we're gonna start in this style and see how we can like morph like other songs.
Oh,
Like it might be like
Yeah.
I don't know, something's like like Rammstein-esque and play off that and then
ends
see
up
what it
sounding
becomes.
like-
Bad Omens.
yeah, country song at the end.
Yeah, that would be good.
Jump on that trend.
That'd be awesome.
We would do it if it works. If it sounds cool, we would do it.
But like I was saying, it's just proof that like that formula, that format of writing music works if the song's good.
Yeah.
It just comes down to good songwriting. It comes down to honest, like
Yeah.
presentation. It comes down to good melodies. You can't beat it.
Everything is like, it's really that simple. It's like intuitive.
Mm.
You know, it's just like an instinct. It's like, oh, this food tastes good. It's like, why? It's like, I don't know. The person that made it knew what they were doing, or they put the right shit in it. You know, like like it's just an instinctual thing. Whether the song is like fresh conceptually and the production you've never heard before, it's got weird synth sounds. Like that could be the starting point or the thing that grabs people. Or it could be a basic song fundamentally, like Just Pretend is, which is just kind of chords and drums and minimal key work. That's just well written, good melodies.
Yeah,
you know,
that's
lyrics,
cool.
lyrics that work with the melody. You know, like we have songs that are way more experimental on the record that I think conceptually are like more innovative, like Concrete Jungle.
Yep.
You know, not as successful as Just Pretend, but Just Pretend is just a great. It's like Oasis, like Wonderwall.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah,
and
yeah.
The guy in a guitar.
simple one
it's
that
an
everyone
amazing
knows.
song. Everyone in the world knows it.
What do you think is your most underrated song that you guys play at the moment?
Underrated
Good question, Nate. I like that.
that we play.
Professional.
Like
Like, what's a song that you're like, I fucking love this song, and it doesn't get the response that I think it deserves?
And you fuckers better go and stream it.
Because I'm just gonna help you boost it right now. So.
I think The Drain.
Okay.
I like The Drain a lot. That one kind of, I feel like flew under the radar, the single for the OST. But something about it just has like a cool feeling, and it's very simple, but it has this like very like seedy subterranean feeling to it to me that I don't know. It's really fun to play live, especially because it's just like right in my cue zone singing.
Cool. Yeah, great.
It's like super easy to sing and have fun with, and like, you know, throw some spice on it and stuff. But probably The Drain.
Okay, I like that.
We haven't really talked about you being in Australia much, except for obviously the koalas giving you hay fever. But
And that's before we started recording.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Hay fever sounds so much worse than allergies, by the way.
Yeah.
Is that how you guys say
We-
allergies?
yeah.
It sounds
Stupid
like a
Australians.
terrible disease.
Have you? So obviously this is a little bit different this time coming around. Other than the whirlwind that was Good Things Festival, have you given yourself a little bit more time to see a bit of the country and explore and hang and that sort of stuff? And you enjoying that?
Yeah. When we came, because we have so much production now, we have a lot of rehearsal days
Yeah.
to make sure everything's working and, you know, going good, and also to make sure we're acclimated to like the time zone and the environment.
Yeah.
So we got here like a week before the first show, and
Cool.
we're just hanging out in Melbourne, you know, like sightseeing, rehearsing, hanging out. We went to the Brisbane has Lone Pine.
Yeah.
That's where we went to Lone Pine, and then in Melbourne we went to a different animal sanctuary. You know what it's called? Moonlit.
Oh, I'm
Lone
familiar with
Pine
that
and
one.
Moonlit. You got
You need to do
gotta
next
look at
tour. To
prog
Rome.
metal song names
Yeah.
for sanctuaries here.
So, nothing more metal than a sanctuary with
Our
cute
new
koalas.
EP, Moonlit.
Yeah.
Next
Actually,
time, we'll do Taronga.
Taronga Zoo. We need to take him along and see if his commentary of animals is as good as Jesse's. So Jesse, when we took
Yeah.
him to the zoo, he was just doing this real bad Australian accent, trying to, you know, narrate what the animals would be
I
doing.
like hearing you do an Australian accent, like forced.
Jesse's Australian accent. He's doing Jesse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's quite
Yeah,
good.
It's 2 layers of accent.
An Australian doing an American doing an Australian
Yeah.
accent. Yeah.
That's deep.
Inception.
No, I just love it here, though. It's great. Melbourne was fun. People here are great. Food's great. Weather's awesome, minus the random flash floods that's been happening. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
This
That's
is
new.
Yeah, Sydney really, like, you got 43 degrees yesterday, and then today's just raining and 20.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
Yeah, that's great, though.
Let's help manifest. We'll finish these things up because I don't want to take
Oh
too much more time.
yeah.
We've had some luck in the past with bands of like talking about who they want to play with, who they'd like to feature, and that's come true. So I want you to put things out into the atmosphere here of what's a band you guys have never been able to play with, you would love to play with, or even collaborate with. Because like those two, you got to collaborate with a bunch of really sick artists. So I think that's something that's really exciting.
It's hard to say because I feel like I'm kind of cooked on collaborations after that.
Yeah, which is fair.
A band I would like to play with.
Doesn't have to be in your wheelhouse either. It could be like real left of field.
Well, I had this thought recently. I think it'd be cool to collaborate with Bo Burnham.
Oh,
As a comedian and
Yeah.
a musician. I think there'd be something like really interesting, like some kind of fun social commentary we could try to litter in there with that. But it's
we regularly talk about two of his, the country one he does, and then the one we does the Kanye style song.
dude,
That
I've
kills
seen
me
his
every
special so
time.
many times. I love Bo Burnham. It's great. We never played with Disturbed. That would be a cool one.
Oh,
Yeah, that was like the first metal band I really got into.
I feel like you guys would suit that.
Yeah, 9 Inch Nails would be a cool one.
that'd be epic.
That's like super out there
Yeah.
as far as like the type of fest and stuff we play.
So if you were to put together your dream festival lineup, you don't have to be playing it. Give us 5 bands that would make up your ultimate.
Yeah, it's like you'd
festival.
want to go and watch.
My dream festival lineup
Yeah.
with 5 bands.
Yeah.
Okay.
They could be deceased or broken up or whatever.
Wow, that's tough. Caroline Polachek.
I instantly don't know who that is.
Let me think. I'm really bad at these. Fall Out Boy. Let's go Fall Out Boy.
Playing
Yeah.
Cork Tree in full. Great.
Yeah, playing
Yeah.
Cork Tree in full. Caroline Polachek playing Welcome to My Island in full. All these artists are just going to play my favorite records in
That's
full.
fine.
And everyone
That's
else at the festival, they
perfect.
can just deal with it. Let me think. Who else? Who else do I like? Should I check my Spotify?
Hell yeah.
Who have I been listening to?
That's always a really.
I'm taking this answer very serious, so bear with me.
Yeah.
The people will appreciate it.
Let's see.
Does your listening change when you're on tour?
Oh, I got a good one. Dijon. Ever heard of Dijon?
No.
Exactly.
Isn't it a mustard?
No one has. That's what I thought.
It's spicy as
Incredible.
fuck. Wait, it's spelt the way the mustard is? Okay.
Yeah, just like the mustard.
Dijon. We'll check that
that's-
out.
That's 3.
Is there an album there or just the artist in general?
What is his album called? He like never plays, and from what I've read, he gets offered to play all the time. He just doesn't
Really?
want to. He's just like living life or something. Citizen, be a good one.
Ooh,
Been
okay.
Been jamming
Matt's
him a
my
lot.
boy.
That's 4. He's the fifth artist. Kublai Khan. Easy.
That
It's
is
eclectic.
such a
People are
varied
gonna hate
lineup.
this festival.
It just happened. Some light is dispatched. That is.
It got really
I
dark
said
at the
Kublai
end.
Khan. and said,
You guys want to get metal, right? Well, we will wrap up there. So maybe a light's about to die or something. I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
We're stoked to have you back, man. Thanks for taking the time to
it's good
hang out
to be
with us
here.
too.
One more show.
We know you don't
Yeah.
do too much media, so we're
No,
stoked to have you
thank
hang
you.
Yeah,
out.
we
It's all
appreciate
good.
it, man, so much.
Appreciate it.
Thank
Thank
you.
And we look forward to tonight.
Yep. It'll be good.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
we've heard nothing but good things.
Well, can't wait to let you down.
There's a tagline.
Yeah. How was the show? We don't want to talk about it.
Thanks, dude.
No, great.
Yeah.